ladies and gentlemen, I have a very difficult task ahead of me, knowing that it is 8:30 in the morning and I'm a financial planner. So I have to figure out a way to make you at least somewhat interested in financial planning. So I accept all feedback if I'm peppy enough. I've only had a half a cup of coffee, so we're all in this together, okay? Can I get some nods from the room and on the screen? All right. Okay, so I am Danielle Trabon. I have been a proud member of NEJC for 3 years, and I came from St. Louis. Okay, so I moved what I thought was just a casual trip down I-70. Kansas City is a whole different ball game, and I realized that I needed friends in my new community. So I have loved the chamber. I've absolutely gotten wonderful business. I see so many of my own clients on the screen and in the room. But man, this has been a place for me to make friends, find like-minded, hardworking people who care about the community. So if you aren't already a member, I will say that I've really enjoyed getting to know some of my favorite people in Kansas City through this community. And shout out to Metro Electric. Used your services a couple weeks ago to fix the atrocity that my husband tried to do in our kitchen with our wiring. Thank you for your graciousness. And then I was able to refer 2 of my clients to Jordan Menzel and Amy Stecker yesterday for their real estate needs. So definitely am proud to be part of the chamber. So that's my little chamber spiel, but this has been an insane year. If you have a pulse, you know that last year was super weird, right? So pandemic, election, recession, trying to figure out how to do these chamber meetings virtually and in person. So my goal, ladies and gentlemen, is to give you a couple of tips that I've pulled together to make sure you are financially stable and to get your hands wrapped around what can I do if last year was hard for me or my business. So consider this a free financial planning meeting for all those who are joining. Grab a pen and a paper. If you've got a friend or a loved one who you think is terrible with finance and you want to give them a few tips, maybe not yourself, we'll use today to get some of that going, and then we'll have plenty of time for questions. So with no further ado, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so we can be slightly more visually appealing here. Can you all in the room see what I have in front of me? Yep. Okay, I love it. So we're going to kind of break this down for milestones. So milestone 1 is what I'm going to call kind of the crawling portion. These are the things that I want to make sure that everyone as a baseline starter point have post-recession to make sure that you are set. So I'm going to give you these 3 milestones. Each one has a little step. Milestone 1. My job as a financial advisor is to not pass judgment on where you've come from, what you've been through with your finances. It's to understand what's important to you and help you move forward. I've been with Edward Jones for going on almost 9 years now, and I've learned that there are all kinds in this world with all sorts of different financial backgrounds. So if you're building from the starting point, my tips for you, let's make sure we have at least $500 set aside in a bank, under your mattress, in your coffee can at home, in your backyard. I don't care where it is, but something quickly accessible. I know we've got a lot of wonderful bankers in our chamber. So if you haven't already talked to some of them, I see Nikki Shippey is on my little screen, so I'll give her a quick shout out. If you haven't already connected with a banker you trust, it's more than transactional, right? It's a relationship. So talk about making sure you've got that set for yourself. Number 2. Guys, I get this all the time. Oh, Danielle, should I give you my money in an IRA or should I put it in my work plan? First, see if your work plan has a match. Okay, my husband would be super mad at me if I took our money and tried to match your own IRA contributions into your accounts with me. That would not be good for my marriage or you all. So once you've got your $500 kind of squared away, your next set of homework, write this down, is verify to see whether your employer is giving a match, and bonus, whether you're putting in the full amount you need to get the full match. It's money on the table. Okay, so that's definitely something to take advantage of. And I'd also say kind of lumping in that if your company gives you a health savings account, okay, or an HSA, you might hear it called, definitely take advantage of those. I don't personally even do HSAs. I know some of the bankers in our group are able to provide those. So whether you're doing it through your company or a bank, HSAs are key. Their health reasons are the second most expensive thing in retirement, and they're triple tax advantaged, right? So let's throw some money in HSAs if you can. And then last but not least, on our step one baby step, we're just learning kind of to crawl and sit up here. I'm expecting in June, so everything is going to be a baby related metaphor, forgive me. But the third component of my milestone one is let's be mindful of the debt we're carrying. Average US family carries credit card debt. It is nothing to be ashamed of. Seriously, I see it all the time. You'd be surprised the type of people with the type of debt that I see. But making sure that you're prioritizing, especially those credit cards that have really, really, really high interests, let's make sure that you've got some sort of plan to tackle and pay that down, okay? Now, for everyone in the room and in the virtual room, I'll acknowledge that 40% of the US population can't cover an emergency need. So they don't have $400 in their bank account to their name. And shoot, I don't know about you, but I've been there in my life. So we all talk about, let's use milestone one of, okay, if last year was chaos for you or that loved one that you're giving this information to, let's make sure that we start with these steps so that you can feel confident. If we have the $500 tucked away with a trusted banker or in a coffee can under your garage, if you've made sure that you're maxing out any contributions at work and HSAs, and if we've got a handle on credit card debt, we're moving over to milestone number 2. So again, write this down, put a big 2, circle it. This is where I want to progress you. This is a big part of what I do, is not just the asset management. I have a certified financial planning designation and an accredited asset management designation. Means nothing to most people outside of my industry, but it means I'm a fiduciary. I always do what's in your best interest. And I partner with the fact that I'm really good at stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs, and the like with the behavioral coaching and planning side. So we want to make sure that all of this goes in hand. So as I progress folks from milestone 1 to milestone 2, I'm going to encourage you, okay, now that you got your $500 tucked away, let's make sure we have 1.5 to 2 months worth of expenses and emergency savings. If you don't know what your family's bills are in a normal month, I'd encourage you to make that your first step. Okay. Some of you might be laughing in the room. Maybe you're the person in the family who handles that, but that's the biggest discussion point in my meetings is how much do you spend? How much do you feel you need to spend to have a successful retirement? So getting a grip on what are at least my baseline bills will help you all make sure that you've got enough cash stashed away if God forbid something happens. The next point here, I'll say a goal would be to save 10 to 15% of your gross income into retirement accounts and things of that nature. I'm going to even hone that a little bit more. It really goes back to what is your spending. So the 10 to 15 is a good general rule of thumb, but if you want to know very specifically what's my dollar amount from my life circumstance, happy to set up a meeting with you. I don't charge by the hour. So any NEJC member who would like to set up a quick chat just to make sure you're on track, give me a call. Public service announcement. If you don't already know this, the deadline to fund your IRA for 2020, we're talking last year, has been moved to May 17th, right? So normally it's April 17th of the following year to max out last year's IRA. But if you're wanting to shove a little bit more savings, treat yourself, treat your future self, remember May 17th is the new deadline. And then the last piece here, I think some of our mortgage lenders and general lenders of the crew, Jordan Mensel, I'll give you a little shout out there. Check your debt to income ratio. Now, if you're trying to buy a home or a car, things like that, that's where the debt to income really matters. I'm going to give you some numbers. So if you've been talking to your partner and going, gosh, we got to lock in our spending, the key is, I'm going to give this to you for a home, someone paying a mortgage, we want to keep it 35% of your debt payments out of your income every month. If you don't have a mortgage, let's shoot for 20. Okay, so 35% debt to income ratio if you're paying a mortgage, 20 if you don't have a mortgage, but shoot, the lower it is, and I'm feeling the lenders in the room would agree, the lower it is, the better it is, okay? Now, we're gonna talk optimal state here, ladies and gentlemen. We talked about milestone 1, milestone 2, now we're talking like the whole enchilada. We're going to bring you from worst case scenario, baby steps, to crawling to walking here. 3 to 6 months of your bills, not your salary, it's your bills tucked away. And you might be looking at me going, well, Danielle, 3 to 6 months is quite a variance. Okay, how do I know whether I should do 3 or 6 months? And we'll say that depends on your family circumstance. If you're a dual income family, or someone where at least one person in the relationship has substantial assets like a trust fund, things like that, you're good with 3 months, okay? If you're a family where you have got one person who's outside the home working and one person who's in the home maybe keeping humans alive as their full-time job, that's where we lean more towards that 6 months worth of expenses. A little shout out to the entrepreneurs and business owners of the room. I tend to lean more towards the 6 months for all of you if you're required to ante up your own personal money to keep cash flow in business and payroll flowing. So again, happy to chat more in depth if you'd like to discuss more one-on-one and personalized. But I do know we've got a lot of entrepreneurs in the room and in the virtual room. So put that as a little pocket goal, $500. 1.5 to 2 months, but again, entrepreneurs or single income family, we're going to shoot for 6 months worth of our expenses. Then staying on track for your retirement goal. It's so easy to come up with an initial plan, but to stay on track amidst life's chaos, furloughs, layoffs, unexpected deaths, unexpected debts, it's staying on track and making sure you have a regular touch base with your partner and your planner. Make sure you haven't gone off. That's key. And then I'll put a little note, your attitude towards debt really matters. Now, I have a lot of folks who will come to me and they'll say, well, Danielle, I really, really, really want to pay off my mortgage before I retire. And again, part of my job is to not judge your personal goals. It's to hear them and then to come up with a plan. But it might be in your best interest to hold on to your mortgage, for example, while you stash extra cash in your long-term retirement. And those trade-offs is really where you can work with a professional financial advisor, financial planner to tailor it and make sure that you've got what you need to be successful. So I'll pause here because I'm quite the talker. Where are we in the room as far as time? Have I put anyone to sleep here so far? We've got a couple more minutes for me to keep yabbering at you.
Well, I think what we'd want to do is have you answer any questions that people might have.
I love it. I love it. Nancy, what do we got from you?
Well, I wanted to clarify something. When you say you need to save a percentage, should that be of your after taxes money or before taxes money? I mean, that could be quite a difference. I mean, like a 30% difference.
A good question, Nancy, and that's of your gross income. So that's your pre-tax amount. And we look at these 10 to 12 to 15. I call that general financial advice that won't hurt you, right? There are a lot of financial professionals where you can read blogs and get books and resources that will give you guidance that won't hurt you. Sure, putting 10 to 15% down in your retirement of your gross earned income, your salary, that sure isn't going to hurt. Maybe though you only need 5 or 7. Maybe you're a high income earner, but you don't spend that type of money. So maybe it needs to be something closer to 3 or 6. Maybe you haven't saved a dime throughout your whole life and you're just starting this when you're maybe in your late 40s, your 50s, and that percentage is a lot higher. So that's where you can get really specific in meeting with a person like me to make sure you've got a tailored plan. But that, Nancy, is general rule of thumb is gross amount.
All right,
What else? Vita, did I see your hand raised?
Yes, I just wanted to support you by saying that so many people think that, oh, I don't have enough money to see a financial planner. And as a 67-year-old, am I 67? No, I'm 66, whatever I am. I'm so good with numbers. Who retired at age 54. Husbands come and husbands go, but a good financial planner is yours for life. So
I'm going to start adding that to my tagline.
Don't think you don't have enough money to actually talk to a financial planner.
Yes, and I will say, ladies and gentlemen, I've had so many friends from the chamber come and refer a parent or a business owner or a son or a daughter. You have access to financial planning. So if you've got someone in your life that you love who, whether they've got several millions of dollars, they certainly do advanced wealth planning techniques, or if you've got someone who, gosh, I just can't get this through to my grandkid that they need to start putting money away, I am here for our chamber. Please send them to me, because I would rather have these conversations with people before they get in hot water. So send them my way and we'll make sure that they're well taken care of.
And I'm 67. I just had a birthday.
That's good. Anything else? Or have I put the people in the room to sleep there?
No, you did not. Actually, that was very good. And thank you. Does anybody have any questions here? All right. No, thank you, Danny. Appreciate it. All right.